Walking through any major city in America, you'll inevitably come across someone sleeping on the street or asking for spare change. Homelessness remains an immense issue plaguing communities across the United States. On a single night in 2020, over 500,000 Americans were without permanent shelter. But this represents only a fraction of the total number impacted over the course of each year. Today, we'll take a comprehensive look at the state of homelessness across America and unpack its complex causes. Gaining a deeper understanding of this social crisis breeds empathy and helps us advocate for solutions. Together, through compassion and policy reform, we can make real progress. Scope of homelessness in America. Homelessness has been on the rise in the United States for over a decade since the Great Recession. While largely concentrated in major metros like New York and Los Angeles, it touches small towns and suburbs too. Well over 500,000 Americans experience homelessness on any given night based on yearly national point-in-time counts. But this substantially underestimates the total number, as millions more cycle in and out of homelessness throughout each year. The homeless population in America is quite diverse. About and how families with children, a little over half are single adults, the majority struggling with substance use and mental illness. Tens of thousands are unaccompanied youth or veterans as well. Living without stable shelter takes an immense toll on mental and physical health. The average life expectancy for someone without permanent housing is between 42 and 52 years, decades lower than the housed population. Key causes of homelessness in America. Homelessness stems from an intricate web of factors that disproportionately impact marginalized groups. No single cause accounts for all cases. Key drivers include lack of affordable housing, stagnant wages, and rising rents create huge shortages in affordable apartments and homes. Poverty and unemployment, stagnant incomes, and the fraying safety net trap millions in poverty and financial instability. Mental illness and disability. An estimated 25 have a severe condition like schizophrenia, PTSD, or bipolar disorder. Substance abuse and addiction. Alcoholism and drug abuse make maintaining housing nearly impossible without treatment. Domestic violence. Victims fleeing abuse urgently often end up homeless with no alternatives. Incarceration. Formerly incarcerated individuals face severe barriers to securing housing and jobs. Foster care system deficiencies. Youth aging out at 18 lack skills, education and support networks. Natural disasters. Floods, hurricanes and wildfires often eliminate low-income housing. Discrimination. Racial, gender identity and criminal record bias create unfair housing barriers. Medical debt and costs. Health crises drain finances through costs and inability to work. This complex web of systemic and individual risk factors demonstrates that homelessness can happen to anyone if circumstances align against them. Yet certain populations like those struggling with mental illness, minorities, LGBTQ, youth, and formerly incarcerated individuals face higher risks. Responses to homelessness. Tackling homelessness requires comprehensive, compassionate responses across the following areas: affordable housing expansion, constructing more dedicated low-income apartments and mental health care access, increasing treatment, counseling, rehabilitation services and caseworkers, addiction treatment, broadening capacity of detox programs, residential rehabs and therapy, job training placement, funding training and apprenticeship programs paired with transitional employment, emergency shelters, expanding temporary shelter options while doubling down on permanent housing solutions, supportive services, case management, life skills building, legal aid, healthcare enrollment assistance, outreach teams, proactively connecting those on the streets to social services and housing options, housing first approach, providing permanent housing upfront before addressing other needs like sobriety or mental health treatment, coordinated entry, streamlining access to homeless services using centralized intake and triage, income supports, ensuring adequate options for those unable to work like disability benefits and caregiver stipends, foster youth programs, extending transitional support and social services to aged 24. Criminal record expunging, removing barriers to accessing housing and employment, private sector engagement, funding and volunteering through businesses, faith groups, and community organizations. Homelessness in America stems from an array of systemic gaps, individual circumstances, and societal failings. While a complex issue, viable solutions exist if we can mobilize the collective political and societal will to prioritize them. But it starts with understanding and humanizing the struggles of our fellow community members without shelter. This breeds compassion, dissolving apathy and judgment so that positive change becomes possible.